I want to tell you about a dead man. He has recently been given a name now, but he did not have one for 70 years. His name may have been Carl Webb. He was found on a beach in Adelaide, Australia, on the 1st of December 1948. He was sitting propped against a seawall. His legs were extended. His arms were at his sides. He looked like a man who had sat down to watch the ocean and simply stopped. Nobody saw him arrive. Nobody saw him fall. Nobody on that beach knew who he was. That last part turned out to be true of everyone in Australia and of everyone in the world. The man on Somerton Beach had no name that anyone could find. He was well dressed, a suit and tie in the middle of an Australian summer. He appeared to be in his mid-40s. He was in excellent physical condition. No injuries, no signs of struggle, no obvious cause of death. He had no wallet, no identification, no keys, no hat. And the labels had been carefully removed from every single item of clothing he was wearing. Every label. All of them. Gone. Police circulated his description across Australia. They received no useful response. Nobody came forward to identify him. Nobody reported a man matching his description as missing. His fingerprints matched no record on file anywhere. He had simply appeared on that beach, fully formed, and died. As if he had never existed anywhere before that morning. Investigators were left with a body they could not identify, a death they could not explain, and a set of circumstances that made no sense at all. They gave him a name for the records, the Unknown Man, and they buried him, and they kept looking. 2 months after the body was found, investigators made a discovery. Sewn into a hidden pocket in the waistband of his trousers, they found a small, tightly rolled scrap of paper. It was the size of a matchbook. On it were 2 words printed in Persian. Tamam Shud. The phrase translates as "it is ended," or simply, "the end." The words had been torn from the final page of a very rare edition of a collection of Persian poetry, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of verses about love, about fate, about the passage of time, and about the acceptance of death. Someone had torn the last 2 words from the last page of a book about the end of things and sewn them into a hidden pocket and carried them to a beach in Adelaide and died there. The specific edition was so rare that investigators initially could not locate another copy anywhere in Australia. They made a public appeal. Weeks later, a man came forward. He had found a copy of the Rubaiyat in the back seat of his unlocked car. The car had been parked in a suburb a few miles from Somerton Beach. He had found it shortly before the body was discovered. He had not thought anything of it at the time. The torn section at the back of the book matched the scrap of paper from the hidden pocket exactly. Same typeface. Same paper. Same tear. This was the book. And inside the back cover of that book, written in pencil and then partially erased, were 5 lines of capital letters in a sequence that formed no known language, matched no known cipher, and has never been decoded by anyone in the 75 years since it was found. The code was examined by cryptographers at Australian Intelligence, by academic codebreakers, by independent researchers around the world, by teams using computational analysis. Nobody has cracked it, Nobody has even reached consensus on what kind of code it is. But that was not the only thing written in the back of the book. There was also a phone number. The number belonged to a woman. She was a nurse. She lived in a suburb of Adelaide, a few miles from Somerton Beach. She was young, conventionally attractive, and appeared calm when detectives first visited her. She told them she did not know the dead man and that she had never seen him before. She could not explain why her phone number was written in a book connected to a man found dead near her home. Then investigators showed her a plaster cast made from the dead man's face. Everyone present at that interview later described the same thing. She reacted, and it was certainly not a small reaction. And then she said again that she did not know him. Over the years that followed, she was interviewed multiple times. Her account never changed. She would say that she did not know him, had never met him, and that she could neither explain the phone number nor her eccentric reaction when confronted with the plaster cast. At some point, investigators discovered she had given them a false name for herself during the early interviews. She had been lying about who she was, while also claiming she didn't know the unknown man. She had a young son. Researchers who studied the case over the following decades noted that her son shared distinctive physical features with the dead man, including an unusually rare anatomical characteristic of the ear, a specific formation that occurs in fewer than 1% of the population. The dead man had it, and her son had it as well. She never acknowledged any connection. She never explained the phone number. She never explained her reaction to the plaster cast. She refused to discuss the case for the rest of her life. She died without saying anything. For 70 years, the case accumulated theories. Some thought he might be a spy, maybe a Soviet intelligence operative in the early years of the Cold War. After all, Adelaide in 1948 was home to a significant defense research program. Others had ideas about the missing labels on his clothes. The Woomera rocket testing range was under construction nearby, so the removed clothing labels were tradecraft, or something along those lines. Some speculated that the undecipherable code was just a one-time pad. The untraceable cause of death pointed some to suspect that the murder weapon must have been a rare poison that leaves no sort of residue. Perhaps the nurse was a contact of his, and their meeting went very, very wrong. These theories were plausible, but they were never proven. Australian intelligence agencies reviewed the case. Their conclusions were never made public. Other theories said he was simply a man who had come to find the woman. Maybe he was. A man from her past. Someone she had known before she moved to Adelaide. Someone she had reason to fear. Someone who had found her and had not survived the finding. The code in the back of the book could be a love letter, or a threat, or a list of names, or nothing that was ever meant to be understood by anyone except the person it was written for. And that person, if she ever read it, never told anyone what it said. The man remained in his grave in Adelaide, under a headstone that said, "The Unknown Man." The code remained unbroken. The woman's secret went with her. And then in 2022, something changed. A forensic researcher named Derek Abbott had been investigating the case for years. He had developed a close relationship with the woman's family over that time. Her granddaughter provided a DNA sample voluntarily. Abbott used it alongside mitochondrial DNA, extracted from hair follicles preserved in the original plaster cast of the dead man's face. The analysis produced a result. The man on Somerton Beach was most likely Carl Webb, born in Melbourne in 1905, an instrument maker and engineer. He had been married. He had separated from his wife. He had no children on record. The identification was probabilistic, not absolute. It was the closest thing to a name the case had ever produced, and it answered almost nothing. Carl Webb had no documented connection to intelligence services. Carl Webb had no documented connection to the woman. Carl Webb had no documented reason to be on that beach on that morning. The code in the back of the Rubaiyat has still never been decoded. The cause of death has still never been determined. The reason every label was removed from his clothing has still never been explained. Neither was the woman's peculiar reaction to the supposedly unknown man's face. And the shared ear formation between the dead man and her son has also still never been explained. If he came to find her, he never got to speak to her. If she knew him, she never admitted it. The scrap of paper in the hidden pocket said, "Tamam Shud." It is ended. Whatever he came to say, whatever the 5 lines of capital letters were meant to communicate, whatever the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam meant to either of them, ended on a beach in Adelaide on a summer morning in 1948, and has not been communicated since. There are other cases in the archive, other unidentified dead, other codes that have never been broken, other secrets that went with the people who kept them. The next one is waiting. Link is on the screen.